Okay, let me just say good morning and then we'll get to your question. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second session of In Bloom. As I said earlier, if you had received the hydrangea last month, this month you will have received the iris. And the reason for that is that fact that we didn't have enough canvases to go around, so we split them. And then next month, everybody will end up with the same canvas. So we won't have this back and forth anymore. And we're going to start off. Barbara has a question. I don't want her to lose her train of thought.
So when I have the hydrangea
Mm-hmm.
and I put it on my, um, yeah,
Stretcher bars.
stretcher bars. Thank you. Can't think this morning. And, but I put it on top like I usually do. And then I remember that someone said when you're doing ribbon, you should reverse it and put it so it's in the well.
Mm-hmm. I put it in the well only because I don't want my hands and the oils of my hands going across it all the time. All right. But it really, if you're more comfortable with it on top, keep it on top. It just keeps it from getting caught a little bit more if it's in the well.
Okay.
Okay. But you're not doing anything wrong.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that you know that you're not doing anything wrong. Um, if by chance, I know some people are having trouble, a little, some thread issues. So if by chance, if you're having a thread issue and you need something, let me know. When you would receive the back, and some people, for some reason, did not receive the background that that for even the first one, that's gone out if you've told me you needed it. So, and I sent it priority mail, so you should have it shortly. And just to remind you that the background stitch, and I know some people did this differently, and Barbara, I know yours went out. The background stick we chose was a T-stitch, and we used 2 strands of the blossom with a strand of the silk lame petite. That being said, if you did that, you should be able to get through at least 2. You only have 2 to get through, but you should have been able to get through at least 2. All right. And so this morning I'm just going to I'll review the iris first, since I think predominantly most people got that. And so the iris was your T-stitch for your background. And yes, I have some T-stitches down in here as well. You can choose to sometimes it's easier just to do the bulk of it. And sometimes it's easier to just to do what you can truly see. All right, because you may have some of your other thread may cover it. The background for this one is just a vertical brick. Okay, and I used all the fibers that we had for the not the background, for the greens. All right, so you had several fibers for the greens that should get you through most of the florals. You may run out at some point because I think that the tulips are very heavy hitting if you do a long stitch, and we'll take care of that as we move along. But I did a vertical brick stitch and I changed my threads periodically. So I have all different types of textures in there. I used the Splendor, I used the painter's thread, I used the silk straw, and it's just a vertical stitch. And don't worry so much about, because it's grass and greens, don't worry about so much if you go over a little bit on the peach part. Don't worry about that whatsoever, because it will be covered with the brick stitch. Okay, and I did not split the straw silk for this. I used it as is. All right. For the florals, they are long stitches. That's called, so there's painting, stitch painting is the same as a long stitch. And what you're going to do, and I think what we did is, I don't know if I'm going to move over to the other one, and I'm gonna show you what we did last time around. And then try to emulate it again. Okay, so I used, how many strands did I use? 5 or 6 of the silk, okay? And when you're, I don't know if you can see that well enough. Let me see if I can get down in there. All right, this area here, you can't see it now because I've moved the camera. So hold on. This area here is stitch painted, or it's so basically they call this thread painting is what they call it. So what you're going to do is really intercept, you're going to go, it's just a long stitch. You can go as long or short as you need to. And you're going to pull that through. And so what it does is it's going to help you when you create your shadowing. And they can be different lengths. You kind of want it different lengths. Just like that. And sometimes I'm going to go in between the two just to fill the space a little bit more. And you have a Splendor for the ends and then the other 2 colors in the silk. So your Splendor you're going to use through here. And I did when doing this one, I did add some volume to it by going over it a couple of times. So I believe what I did is I started with this lighter blue, then went with this purple, and then ended with this on this end here. And I did the same to kind of follow the lines of an iris. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so as you're following the lines to this one is just that darker purple. This one has the dark purple with the blue in the middle, and this one has all 3, and I followed it around. So as you're doing your long stitches on this purple, what I did is I came up, I did a stitch to here, did a stitch here, and then I turned it. So I did a couple of shorter stitches coming this way, a longer stitch coming over here, and a shorter stitch. I will resend these to you so you can blow them up. All right. And because if they come via email, you'll be able to do that. And then just if you see a really big mistake, let me know. If I've missed something. But that being said, as you get to these, they're a lot easier. Most of them only had 1 color, and it's just a series of long stitches. Make sense? I know it's out of the comfort zones for some people. The reason I did not do these in ribbon is that I tried and tried and tried, and I didn't like the way it kept coming out because you needed more than a 13 millimeter for this one. And it just wasn't striking me the right way. And I'm like, all right, I want to be able to show them stuff with thread anyway, because not everybody's doing ribbon. And once I did this, I'm like, all right, I'm very happy with what I did. So all I can say for those that are much more militant in their stitching, yes, you have to let go a little bit, but once you do and you can see the form of the flower, you'll be like, okay, not so bad. All right. So this is the iris. And like I said, if some of you received this month, and I will send these in. And if you're running out of thread, let me know, because you really should have had enough thread for both this and the hydrangea along with the ribbon. Okay. The next one, obviously we did ribbon, and I know that a lot of people have already done this, and it literally you've used 2 stitches for this, maybe 3. So if you were doing the ribbon, you've done a loop stitch. All right, and a loop stitch is, we'll go back and show you again what a loop stitch is, as I just lost my thread. All right. Bear with me. Okay, there you go. So it's in the hole. I can either take it to the hole next to it, or I can take it right back in the same hole. Okay. And I'm sorry that I'm left-handed, so it makes it really difficult for people to see. I'm not going to let go of it though, because I want to hold on to the stitch. And I'll pull out the tail. And as I said, if you use a pencil or a laying tool for this, it does help. I'm going to hold on to this until I get to my next stitch. Otherwise, I might lose it. And you may lose a little still, but you can always fluff it up. So I'm trying to do this so you can see it. I pulled this up. And my tail's a little long, so I apologize. Pull this up, and I'm going to go back into the hole next to it just so you can see the difference. All right, so I can now let go of this, and I'm going to hold on to this one as I pull through, or try to. And that's really what your loop stitch is. So it literally looks like a loop. If you can see that there. The other stitch that you have with this is, there's two ways to do this. A straight stitch, okay? And a straight stitch is just that. You can pull, say you're working on the leaves, and the leaves are going in different little directions because leaves typically do. You're going to pull your thread up, and then you're going to drop it into a line where you want it dropped. You don't want to pull it too tight, but that is your straight stitch. Okay, another stitch you could do in place of that, if you feel that you want to and you're not getting enough security and it's not looking the way you want it to, is then instead of a straight stitch, just doing a Japanese stitch. So in a Japanese stitch, what you're going to do is you've pulled it up and you're going to poke back into the needle anywhere you want to poke, depending on how long you want that stitch to be. And you guys are having trouble seeing that. I'll do it again. Pull it out. I can puff it up even a little bit if I want to. And I'm going to literally poke the ribbon and pull it through. And that's a Japanese stitch. And what's it's going to do is create a little curl on the end of it. And that's a great leaf stitch as well. And that's really the stitches that you're using for that hydrangea. And then the other stitch that you can, well, that's the other one that you'll use too, and we talked about this last time, is your French knot. Depending on how long you want your French knot be or how puffy, do it once, do it twice, back down in. And this will fill the gaps for your hydrangea. And that's really all you're doing. I know a lot of people have finished this one already, and I've seen a couple of them and they look beautiful. Any questions on these stitches? Are you all feeling, if you're not feeling comfortable and you don't want to say anything, text me, email me, we'll do a FaceTime. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable.
Okay, I'll admit, I'm that legalistic kind of, stitcher. So this
And
is
that's
like
fine.
very free,
Yes.
just so the hydrangea, like I've done my background, so just it stares at me when I'm like, oh, maybe I'll work on another project. where do you start? I mean, there's just so much ribbon work on that hydrangea. Like,
You can
should I
start,
start with the leaves? Do I do the loop stitch and just go? I mean,
I would start, I would just pick a spot and go.
okay,
Okay. You can do that it may make, because you're more militant in your stitching, you may want to start with the leaves down the bottom.
okay,
Okay. And that might give you a little bit more sense of being comfortable. And then as you progress, then like, all right, I'm feeling good with this. I'm gonna just go for a spot and do a loop. And your loops, so a hydrangea sometimes, I'm gonna come back onto the other screen. Okay, so a hydrangea, like say these are 2 loops, right? Well, you're gonna do 2 identical loops. So there's basically 4 little loops, all right? And with an intersection in the middle. And just pick a spot and go. Do not worry about what the canvas looks like,
okay.
because it's gonna be covered. And I know that's hard, and if you want an extra FaceTime on it, Amy, believe me, I'm here.
Okay.
I know it's one of these things you gotta just go. And it's easy for me because I think totally outside of the lines. I've never been, like, even in grade school, I was the one using colors that you shouldn't be used, that the teacher would be like, what are you using that color for? Well, because I like it. The world is filled with colors. And she
Mhm.
couldn't deny me. She handed me a crayon box with 48, not 12 colors. You know, and so you can't deny that. I mean, there are how many shades of blue? There are how many shades of purple? So it's just our brains think differently, and that's totally fine. And I get that for some people, this is a huge struggle. All right.
Mhm.
Start with the leaves.
Okay.
Okay. And once your leaves are done, especially your bottom leaves, don't worry about the leaves in the middle, because you will come back and you will add more leaves in as you see
Okay.
spots. Okay. But get the leaves down here done.
Okay.
And then move into a spot and go, okay, I can do this. It's like one step at a time. All right. And you can't do anything wrong. And I said in the first one, there's petals on a flower are imperfect. There's no flower that's perfect. If it is, it's been AI'd. Okay. There's nothing that's perfect. And because there is no perfection, it's okay if your petals are all a little slightly different shades, a little different shapes. It doesn't matter. All right. And if you looked at this as I was doing it, it looks like, and if you didn't know that was hydrangeas, you'd look at that and say, is that just a clump of ribbon? All right. If you're not comfortable with that, another choice is to do French knots on your hydrangeas, all in ribbon. Okay. And have you done a French knot with a running stitch?
No.
Okay. So a French knot with a running stitch, and this will give you that vibe as well. All right. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to show this to you. So when you do your French knot,
Mhm.
I pulled that up. I've twisted it twice, right?
Mhm.
And now I'm going to poke this. You can't see it the way I want to show it. Poke this needle, poke it again, poke it again, poke it again. So it kind of looks like you're creating an S or something. All
Mhm.
right. Then bringing it down the spot. It's going to make a looser French knot. This is a little off of the way that I would want it, but it's a little looser French knot, a little bit more puffier, and that will give you the look of the hydrangea as well.
I like that.
All right, so if that makes you more comfortable as you get in, this is your first time you're doing ribbon, right?
It is.
So if that makes you more comfortable as you're getting into the ribbon,
Mhm.
go for it. It's going to be stunning. I've done hydrangeas where I've done all French knots. All right. It will be absolutely stunning. All right. And it might give you that feeling. And then what you can do is you can go back and you can fill in with more leaves
Mm.
afterwards. All right. And just just cluster them, because the other thing you're doing with this is you were gonna fill in with French knots.
Right.
And so now you're just taking it and you're just French knotting the whole thing, and you'll make your French knots just different sizes.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
And it'll be gorgeous.
Michelle, can I see the back of your canvas?
No,
Mine is terrible. Oh, okay. Mine is
okay?
bad.
It's because the way, okay, so you have so much ribbon that there's no way. And what I did is I took some of I used an invisible, I think for the beading thread, I gave you a blue. You can take some of that beading thread and just just pull some of those ribbons together at the end. And that's the other thing, Amy, too, is you have beads that you can put into some of the centers. I didn't use them all, but I just randomly chose areas that you can go in and put beads into some little centers. And with the French knots, it will be stunning. And maybe cluster a couple.
Okay.
Even so just when you put your beads on, instead of doing it one at a time, maybe taking 3,
Mhm.
pull it down. All right, and that's called messy beading.
Yes.
Don't freak yourself out.
I
All
can do
right?
that. Beading doesn't
Okay.
freak me out.
Okay, so you'll be fine. And like I said, on the back, use your beading, once you're done, use your beading thread and tie some of those together.
Okay.
Some of that ribbon together. Okay, so somebody asked me about finishing. All right, a lot of people have asked about finishing. I'm going to show you some, my goal is going to be to do a weighted stand-up. All right, this is a weighted stand-up, no feet. It is heavy enough that it can stand on its own. All right, I don't have one of these finished yet because I needed them for the class. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a gusset, and then I'll probably put the date on the back, because I put a date on the back so I remember when I made them. So when I'm 90, I'm not guessing. And then it's just going to be able to, you're not going to be able to see it, but it just stands up because it's weighted. All right, so that's one way to finish these. All
What is
right,
the finishing called?
this is weighted. This is a weighted stand up.
Weighted stand up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's way number 1. Another one is this is something I thought about this morning. You couldn't do it for all of them, but you might take a couple and do a box and maybe do one side with one and one side with another. All right, depending on where the box is sitting. All right. And no extra rows are needed, which is delightful. And then somebody asked me about framing them. You can either self finish them. Beth Gantz, who is Beth Gantz Designs, makes some little frames, and she doesn't have it. She said she can get them in stock. But this is a self-finishing frame, and this is the right size for this one. So you could self-finish them if you chose to. The problem is you don't have anything in front of this. All right. But you might, it'd be very textural, but it'd be very pretty. So that's another thing you can do. The other thing you can do is you could do a pillow. You could take them and do a nice lumbar pillow. This is 4 different designs that we did 100 years ago. You could do a lumbar pillow. If you do, you might want a couple extra rows. It doesn't matter what color thread you use around the extra rows, but you might want an extra row, especially if you're going to do a very long lumbar pillow that I probably wouldn't put it on the couch, but I might put it on my bed. Well, I wouldn't put it on my bed because that's where the dog lives when I'm not home. But that being said, that being a nice way is to, and another thing somebody mentioned is taking them and putting them into a professional frame, and I might do 3 in 1 and do 2 frames next to each other. If you do that, you want a shadow box type frame so you do not lose the dimension of the ribbon. Make sense?
Mhm.
Like I've had pieces done where if the frame isn't deep enough. So it's got to be a pretty thick frame. And then what they can do is, for mine, when I had something that had color that is see-through, he put a white mat behind it, and then did the mat surrounding it. So, and so you don't see any mistakes. Show me, Barbara. Oh, isn't that pretty?
Barbara,
You're
you're
on
on
mute.
mute.
I need to take off my blur and I don't remember how to do that.
Go to, oh,
But I got I'm sorry, Michelle,
No, I love it. I love it.
from Amazon, and it's a shadow box frame. And then I had a matting company do that. I mean, it really was very economical.
Right.
And let me see, does somebody remember how to take off
Are you on a,
Zoom?
are you on, what kind?
go to
you wanna know what-
video. Do you have video on the bottom to click on?
Yeah, but
Click
I,
your video thing, a little pop-up should come up.
no, if I
Oh.
stop my video, I'm gone. I'm
You
sorry.
know what? Send me a picture of it in the frame and
I
I will
will.
send it off to everybody.
I will.
Okay.
So-
So go ahead.
But that's what I did. And so I'm gonna do 6 of these and then put them on the wall.
Yeah, and that'd be very pretty too. And that is a very economical way of doing it because we know how much framing can cost, right?
Yeah.
And because of what it is, if you're going to take it to a framer, you want to make sure that they know what they're doing. Because it is needlework.
So
Poonam, do you have a
Barbara,
question?
sorry, you did the whole thing yourself? You got the shadow box and you framed it yourself?
I did. And I don't
Wow.
know, I've,
But you
I-
had the mat cut, right?
I had the mat cut through, what is it called? Etsy, a company there. And I had the mat cut. So I ended up having to do a couple of extra rows. I just did it in white around just to get it in there. But I wanted a shadow box because I wanted the to protect, particularly the ribbons.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You can't see it.
But if you send me a
I'll
picture,
send
I'll
it to
send
you.
it out to everybody.
I'll send it to you, a picture.
So there are several ways to finish it. We're always coming up with something trying to come up with something a little bit different. Obviously, the way Barbara did it is incredibly economical. This way is fairly economical. Depending on what you're gonna do with them, you may decide that you're gonna give each one away. It's totally up to you. I'm not at the point where I give away anything. I have given away a couple of things, but honestly, I don't have enough. I figured that the grandkids can fight over things when I'm gone. So, and they're not old enough to appreciate it right now. So, there are different ways you can finish it depending on what you want. I know that what I've done is I've chosen some Liberties of London fabric that's wildflowers to go on the back of this, if it ever gets here from England. So, but that being said, that's what I've chosen to do, and I try to do something knowing it's going to stay in the store for quite some time. So, but I can't wait to see what everybody else's looks like too, and what everybody else decides to do. Any questions?
Michelle, what's the next one?
The next one is the rose buds. So the next one is this. And everybody will be on the same page at that point. So,
So that looks neat and clean. So the hydrangea was the hardest one that we did?
no. I honestly think the hardest one, let me see, is probably the foxglove.
Oh,
At
yeah.
least because I still don't think it looks like a foxglove, but then I looked at my foxglove, I'm like, okay, whatever. And tulips, a little bit more twisting. Okay. And then the peonies, just used a lot of ribbon,
It's
a lot of
beautiful.
ribbon.
Pretty.
My gosh, that's so beautiful.
Okay. And I mean, this is what my back looks like. It's literally like another canvas. It's a lot of ribbon. This one took probably the longest, because of all the ribbon work. But, once you really get into it, and Poonam, you went so fast that I think that once you really get into it and get the rhythm, it's just a matter of practicing that ribbon.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. I mean, I'm a couple years ahead of some of you on this, that I've been doing a lot more ribbon work over the last couple of years. I just started with the floral ladies from the collection. I did the ones with the skirts,
Those are beautiful, yeah.
and those got, and I ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 6 of them because one of them came back damaged from the framer. So I had to do it over.
Yeah.
So I did the ballerina, the sunflowers, the blue, purple twice. And the pink and green flowers. But that's where I kind of had my start with it. Real start with it. I had done a little bit of ribbon work prior to, but that's really where I had my start to it. And it's been so much fun. I love working with ribbon, even if and it does, and Amy, I will tell you this, it does frustrate me from time to time. I
Okay.
too have to sit back and go, oh, what am I doing wrong here? But a laying tool or a pencil or a knitting needle definitely help too with some of those loops.
Okay.
I love the idea of just going in and doing that whole hydrangeas as French knots, because this one is all loops, but it's more uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yep.
because you're starting here and you're working your way out, and you don't have to, and you can see it more clearly on your canvas than you can on your hydrangea.
Okay.
So, if you have any questions, let me know. As soon as the video uploads, I'll send it out along with the pictures again. Barbara, send me your picture and I will get hers to you. And I believe she said she got her frames on Amazon, and Etsy is where she got the mats cut. Brave woman for doing that.
I will send you I'm sorry, Michelle. I know, people should come to you to finish it, but
No, you don't have to. No, I don't feel that way at all. Just don't apologize. So, y'all
can
live in
s-
different places, so please don't apologize. You're good. You're all good. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're running out of thread desperately, let me know. And we will get things to you. Other than that, have a great day. Thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to see what you guys share your progress.
Thank you, Michelle.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.